Good morning and welcome to the little apartment on the prairie. Can you hear those birds singing outside? It's kind of a cloudy morning. We're expecting rain today, but the birds are happy. So I haven't done a video in a little while. I don't know why. I started one a couple weeks ago when we put in the garden and then I didn't finish it. So maybe I will finish it and upload it for you. Partly I've just been busy. I think the last couple of days I've been feeling a little bit down, not exactly depressed, but I think it's finally sunk in that this virus is going to be around for a long time. And I didn't really have any specific plans for the summer, but there were some things I thought maybe I'd do. I've only been in Nebraska for a little over 2 years. And so there are a lot of areas I still want to explore, places I want to go. So I have kind of a list of things, that would be fun to go see or interesting. I don't know if everybody would think they were fun, but there are things that would be enjoyable to me. There's several museums of kind of like pioneer life, and I find that really interesting. And just historic areas that I wanted to go explore. And so it's sunk in that, none of that's going to happen. I had a friend who was going to visit me in like late spring or early summer, and obviously that can't happen. I had another friend that has been to visit me before in the fall, but I was hoping would come in the summer when it's beautiful. There's not going to be any visitors. There's not going to be any travelers. I don't know that I was going to go visit anybody, but it could have happened. But, just things aren't happening. The farmer's market is set to open, is it next weekend? The weekend after that. I don't know, in a couple weeks, the farmer's market is opening. Last summer, I sold some stuff at the local farmer's market. This year, it doesn't seem like I don't think it's a good idea. It doesn't seem safe. I think things are getting worse here in Nebraska, and that's been depressing. Although our numbers are much lower here in terms of both cases and deaths compared to many other parts of the country, per capita, I guess we rank as 13th in the country, which is pretty high for a pretty rural state, I think. And I think it's because of how things have been handled in the state. We never had a stay-at-home order ever. Our governor has been very reluctant to shut things down. Some things, schools closed, daycares were still open. If people had child care issues, our governor actually suggested that parents could get together and take turns watching each other's kids in their homes. So your kids would be at a different house, exposed to different people each day of the week. And that seemed like a good idea to him. We're not testing any prisoners in the state, and there's a prison in my county, and I imagine the numbers in my county would skyrocket if they tested the prisoners. Apparently, our governor thinks no prisoners in the entire state have symptoms. Nobody in Nebraska has a cough. Do you buy that? I mean, no prisoner. No one in prison in the whole state of Nebraska has a cough, so no need to test anybody. We've got a couple of meatpacking plants where there have been huge numbers of cases. The governor won't release the exact number of cases associated with meatpacking plants, but because he wants to protect those businesses. But he also won't shut down the meatpacking plants. Some have shut down anyway. The business owners have shut them down, but the governor won't tell them to shut down. And now he says youth sports can open back up the beginning of June, because that seems like a good idea to get a lot of kids together to play sports, right? So our numbers are just going up here, and for a while I was calling our governor's office almost every day to make sure they knew that somebody cared, that he wasn't taking things seriously and wasn't handling things. But I finally gave up on that because it was just so apparent that he didn't care. He didn't care when public health officials complained. He didn't care. Okay. All right, so there's that locally, and then there's, of course, our federal government, which says we don't really need to do a lot of testing in order to open things back up, although they're going to test themselves and their employees every day, and they still get cases, but we don't need to do that testing, just they do. It's not necessary. And they're not going to take any steps to protect the rest of us. And honestly, they're only taking minor steps to protect themselves. So, you know, and their employees, they just now finally told people in the White House to start wearing masks. So it's not like they're trying to protect their employees either. All of this depresses me, as you might imagine. There is a point when I was saying, if you're not scared of all this, then you're not paying attention. Now I kind of feel like if you're not depressed, you're not paying attention. But you can't get stuck in that depression because it doesn't get you anywhere. You can't get stuck in the fear. You can't get stuck in the anger. You can't get stuck. All those feelings are valid feelings, but you don't want to get stuck there. You don't want to. There's a line from a movie, if you've ever seen Girl Interrupted, where Whoopi Goldberg is a nurse in a psychiatric hospital back in like the 60s. And she tells this patient, I can't remember the girl's name. She's like the main character in the movie, but Whoopi Goldberg, the nurse, tells her, don't drop anchor here. You can't just settle down and stay there. Like, those feelings, they're okay, they're valid, you can have them, deal with them, move through them, but don't drop anchor. So, meanwhile, I'm trying to grow a garden. I want to plant potatoes. I saw this video on YouTube about how to plant potatoes in 5-gallon buckets. Well, I could not find seed potatoes anywhere, which reminds me I need to call Menards because their website said they had seed potatoes. I ordered them. Then the next day they send me an email saying they're on back order. They don't know when they'll be in. And then I couldn't cancel my order online. I have to call the store to cancel the order. How stupid is that? But I don't want seed potatoes, you know, the middle of the summer or whenever they might get them, because they're not going to do me any good then. So I went to the grocery store and bought whatever kind of potatoes they had, and they've been sitting in my window because I'm trying to sprout them. And I read that if you expose them to light and warmth, they would sprout. Well, now we're having all these cloudy, overcast days, so they're not getting that much light, but hopefully they're like kind of bumpy around the eyes now, so I hope they're going to get little sprouts, and then I will plant them. I have buckets with holes drilled in them already, ready to go. And I really stocked up this month for May. I went grocery shopping, and I really stocked up big time, and because I'm not sure, I know I've said this every month, but I feel like things are getting worse here. And now that we're opening things up, like, not only are we getting more cases, but as we open things up, we'll get more cases. There'll be more people moving around, more risk of exposure. So I don't know, I may not want to go to the grocery store for a while, you know. When I went to Menards, I went to the store, I bought buckets and cat food, some other stuff. They had a rule that all employees and customers had to wear face coverings, and I thought that was really nice. I went to Walmart right next door to Menards, and their employees have to wear face coverings, but customers don't. And I would say maybe half the customers were wearing them, probably a little less than half. Here in my town, in my little town, when I go to the store, I see most customers wearing them. At the grocery store, the staff wears them too. At the dollar store, the staff doesn't. So I don't know why, but it seems dangerous. It doesn't seem like it's getting any better, that's for sure. You know, I have friends I worry about. And obviously there's like so much suffering that comes not just from the disease or from having people that you care about that are sick or being sick yourself, but there's so much suffering that comes from the unemployment, the economic things, people who raise animals and can't get them processed, people who raise dairy cows and they can't sell the milk even though people are starving because their distributor was distributing it to schools and that's not an option anymore. And so there's just a lot of suffering. And I feel like we're just getting started. So, well, that's kind of my update on what's going on with me. And then I think I'll talk a little bit later. Maybe I'll do another video and kind of talk about how you can get ready. They're saying there's going to be a second wave, or there's likely to be a second wave in late summer or fall. Maybe not to winter, but probably sooner. And it may be worse than the first wave. And so maybe I'll do another video later about how you can get ready for that and prepare for that. Let me know how you're all doing. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you soon.